What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be hopefully showing you all how to use shockwave grenades. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, find it helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you like to see more. If you guys would like to use my code in the item shop when getting anything, it is EvolveJake, and it is underneath the webcam at all times. Let's get right into it. So shockwaves are the main mobility item this season, the only mobility item in the loot pool, really, aside from medallions. And they're incredibly good, but some players really struggle with them and have struggled with them for quite some time. There may be other mobility items that come to the game throughout the course of the season, but as things stand now, shockwave grenades are, the main mobility item. So learning how to use them is going to be essential, and they are an item that comes and goes from the meta fairly often. And so if you learn how to use them, it's a skill that you're going to have for the rest of your, Fortnite career. I would highly recommend learning how to use shockwaves. They are, I think, a very easy item to use and pick up on, but they're just not a naturally easy item to use. And what I mean by that is, like, once you get it, you got it, and a little bit of practice with it, I think, goes a long way for most people. But if you're just someone who hops on the game with no knowledge of how the item works, it's going to be rough. And so the best thing you can do to learn shockwaves is going to be to play any sort of creative map in a private match, and you can go in there and practice with them at your heart's content without being under any pressure. So we're going to hop into that right now, and I'm going to explain some things and show how I use shockwave grenades. So for this example, I'm going to be playing the Pit 0 build. The code will be in the description down below and also at the top of the screen while I'm in game. But you can play any creative map that any creative map at all that has shockwaves will work. You just want some environment where you have unlimited shockwaves and nobody that's going to bother you. So I did this in a private match. If you did it in a public match, obviously there would be other people, but I'm pretty sure any creative map you could just do as private. Queue in there by yourself, and while you're not under pressure or worrying about, conserving your shockwaves or having to find more, it's going to be very easy for you to learn this item. I think, as I kind of already touched on in the intro, I believe, I think the biggest struggle a lot of people face is that they're kind of panicking when they're in a fight. And then also when you're playing an actual game, you don't just have like unlimited shockwaves to spam. But I think just a few short minutes in creative, and most people can kind of get it down. Obviously, it will take further practice to be, really good with them. But the item themselves are pretty simple, I think. So it's basically just a ball that sends everything away from it. You see that little effect? Everything is just forced away. And so if I throw it right in front of me, it's going to send me backwards. And I think that's where a lot of people struggle, is they throw it in front of themselves. And then they just, don't go the direction they want to go. And then also some people kind of do a full 180 and then turn around after throwing it. The easiest way to shockwave yourself is just going to be look down as you're walking forward and throw it and kind of walk over it. And I believe if you stop, you'll maybe just end up right on top of it, and then it'll send you up. But if you throw it down as you're walking forward, you should be perfectly fine to be in front of it by the time it goes off. And then that will send you in the direction you want to go without making you have to use too much of your X and Y movement to make things more complicated. Your movement that you have when the shockwave goes off matters though. So if I jump when I use it, I'm going to go further, or I'm going to go higher as well, obviously. So if I wanted to get on top of this building, we'd throw it like that and jump. If I didn't jump, I would probably just go into the wall, maybe onto the balcony. Yeah, I was a bit closer there, but you get my point. So if you want to go higher, you can jump. If you want to go further, you can sprint. If you want to go, even further, you can sprint jump. Using the Flowberry Fizz will send you further. And that's kind of the biggest thing I think with this item, is making the right decisions in the moment to get what you need out of the shockwave. Because sometimes you might want to stay low to the ground. That way it's not as easy for enemies to hit you. And sometimes you might want to go higher. But that's something that really takes practice. Either way, though, I think just knowing that all you really have to do is look down as you throw it and walk forward, and practicing that a little bit in creative, I think just a few short minutes and you will be significantly better than you would have been otherwise. And a lot of players I know for some reason are really averse to playing creative. They're just incredibly against it, and they see it as too much time wasted. It's not like you need to practice for hours on end. A few short minutes, and if you are someone who's always struggled with shockwaves, I think you can really learn the item. There are also times where you can use it on enemies. So I'm in here by myself, but hypothetically, if I knew there was somebody behind this and I wanted to force them off their cover, I could throw it like that, and they would probably be forced to over here. And it does break structures. In this area, you can't really break structures. Everything's impervious. But in the actual game, you can break structures. And so let's say hypothetically I knew there was somebody sitting in this building. I could throw it like this, and I would be sent to like about here. We would break through the first wall, but not the second. And the fact that I was like kind of decently on the edge of its effect anyways would make it to where I don't go too far. I'm also not jumping there to go too high. The same could also be true if you wanted to go down. Like if I knew there was somebody directly under me here, I could do this. And as long as I'm not like moving, I'll just go straight down. And you can do the same thing to go straight up. If you just throw it and stand like kind of directly on it and don't like go anywhere with your, you know, left stick or, you know, WASD movement on keyboard. If you're not really going anywhere, you'll usually just go straight up. But that's basically it for Shockwaves. I think it's an easy-ish item to use. It's just not intuitive, and a lot of people don't practice in creative, don't want to practice in creative, and that makes things harder. But that is going to be it for this. Hopefully you learned something. I would highly, highly, highly suggest getting used to Shockwaves if you haven't already, because as it stands now, they're the best mobility item in the game, and there's something that comes and goes from the loot pool in the meta pretty much every other season or so. And so learning how to use them now, you'll get a lot better. I'm going to let some gameplay play out from stream that I got in the new season. As always, if you guys did find this to be helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. I should have died there. This poor guy. Almost trolled myself. Do you guys like this bug launcher weapon? I like it for like killing the boss because it doesn't use ammo or need to be reloaded or anything, but I don't ever want to carry that. Jeez, brother. Dang, I almost timed it perfectly. This guy's about to get like pushed in the back. You can't use the slurp in air for some reason. Where's the other guy at? I wanted to drink my slurp to have it ticking during that fight. Because I thought we were about to get third-partied right away. I killed my bush? You can only use the epic one in air? Yeah. It doesn't... Not being able to use it in air doesn't ruin it for me. Like, it's still like a god-like healing item, but... It's unfortunate. Where's the other guy I killed? Here. Nothing. How do you get the double jump? It's a medallion at demon debris. Sub Hades. Would you switch the double revolver for the double pumps? Maybe. Like, I think the double pumps could be better, but I'm better with the revolvers. Like, every time I've tried to use those double pumps, I fuck up the timing. And the range on those double pumps isn't as great. And I really value the range on these pistols this season because of the medallions. Like, if I'm just going to be, like, spam double jumping over somebody in a fight, I'd rather have the revolvers. And, like, I don't know. I don't know why. Like, we've had shockwaves be relevant many times in Fortnite. But I feel like this season in particular, like so many people just like are spam shockwaving away from me. And like for that, like that, I'd rather have the revolvers. But those, like the double trouble pump is like very good. But like this guy just like can't play the game versus me. Like the range of these plus the medallions is just such a broken combo.